This is Google's first ever Pixel tablet, and it's called the Pixel Tablet. But you might be wondering, who would buy this over a much cheaper Amazon Echo? When Google unveiled the Pixel tablet last year, they revealed some research which suggests that people buy things like iPads and then don't use them because, one, they need charging all the time and people can't be bothered, and two, you tend to go for your smartphone before you go for your iPad. Google thinks it can fix that with this. And the way they intend to do this is to have a tablet which operates as a normal Android tablet, but which can be attached at any time, and ideally most of the time, to this magnetic speaker dock. So the idea is, once you've finished using your tablet, you attach it via magnets to this and it becomes a home assistant. And consequently, because it's on this charging dock, it's always charged, which gets rid of that issue of your tablet always needing juice. Have they done it though? Okay, so let's look at the specs of the Pixel tablet itself. So it has a 10.95-inch display with 500 nits of brightness and a 60 Hz refresh rate. It's powered by the Google Tensor 2 chip with 8 GB of RAM and either 128 or 256 GB of storage. You get up to 12 hours of battery life, which is either charged via the USB-C port or, more commonly, via the speaker dock, which charges the Pixel tablet at 15 watts. In terms of cameras, you get an 8 megapixel camera on the back and a 1080p camera on the front, which is in the proper place. It runs Android 13 and the pricing is based on the storage that you go for. So in the UK, the 128 GB version, which is this one, is £599 and the 256 GB version is £699. The speaker dock is usually 139 quid, but you can get it thrown in when you buy the Pixel tablet. I have no idea how long they're doing that for, so if they're not doing that when you watch this video, don't blame me. As for the hardware, it's pretty good. It's not as premium feeling as an iPad. The rear casing feels a little bit, I don't know, a bit more plasticky to the touch, but it's still very well built. I love the size of it. I love this 11-inch-ish sized tablet. I think it's perfect for a kind of do-it-all thing around the house. The only thing I would say is that if your Pixel tablet is going to be within reaching distance of young children, I would get a case for it. Google has some options for that, and I'm sure we'll get third-party cases flooding the market fairly soon, but I just wouldn't trust my one-year-old son if this was within grabbing distance. He would destroy it, I think, fairly quickly. We should talk about these bezels, which are quite big by today's standards. I don't really mind them because when it comes to tablets, I like having that area to grip onto with these big displays. And in terms of the display, it's really nice. It's plenty bright enough, it's nice and sharp, the colours are nice and vivid, and no, it doesn't have a high refresh rate, but the 60 Hz thing hasn't bothered me so far, to be honest, and it feels really speedy anyway, so that kind of gets you past that 60 Hz thing. Because the G2 chip in this is so quick, and because this is a completely unfettered version of Android 13, it feels super smooth. However, this isn't just a tablet, and you don't buy the Pixel tablet just for its tablet capabilities, ironically. You buy it because of this and the entire package. What does that all mean? And again, who is it for? Regular viewers will know that I've not had much luck with Siri at home. Basically, I took the big HomePod and a mini HomePod back home from the studio and attempted to use Siri only in our house. And within a couple of months, we'd just utterly had enough. Siri is so far behind the competition. So I've completely ripped out Siri and put this in its place. And initial impressions of Google Assistant are very, very positive. Unlike Siri, Google Assistant understands myself and my girlfriend perfectly. It answers quickly, so it doesn't sit there for ages twiddling its thumbs and eventually saying, here's a Google search. Instead, it delivers fast, relevant results, which is all we expect from these home assistants. But what makes this experience even better is this display. So I've been used to Alexa and also obviously Siri, where you don't have any kind of visual feedback, certainly on the ones that I've used. With this, you do. So you ask it a question, and as well as getting a relevant, timely answer, you get stuff on the screen. If you ask for the weather, it gives you a graphical representation of the forecast for this week. If you ask for driving directions, it gives you a Google map with that route. If you ask if insert name of celebrity here is still alive, which is what most of us do with these assistants, it gives you some more really detailed information on that celebrity. It just gives you much more detailed, rich information, which does encourage you to pick this thing up and use it as a tablet to dive into that info. And when you first attach the Pixel tablet to the dock, it asks if you want to use hub mode, and this is what basically turns it into a visual home assistant. So it gives you that hands-free help from Google Assistant, but also things like a digital photo frame and controls for your smart home accessories. We've loved having those photos play back in the kitchen, so basically when you leave this unattended, you can set it to display photos from your Google Photos library. You just keep catching glimpses of past memories, so past holidays, photos of your kids from last year. It's a lovely thing, and no, it's not unique. Digital photo frames have been around for a long time, and this isn't the only display-enabled home assistant, but it's the first one I've used, and I absolutely love it. The same goes for streaming music, so you can connect your favorite streaming service to the Pixel tablet, including Apple Music, and then when you ask it to play something, you get to see the album art, and you get all of the play controls on the screen. And when it comes to timers, which I'll be completely honest is the main reason we use these devices at home, that sort of thing is so much better on a screen because you can see the timers you've set. Even if you've set multiple timers, they appear on this display, which means you can quickly glance at them to see how long's left, and you can interact with them by pressing them. The one thing I haven't done is dig into the smart home stuff on this, so as you would guess, the Pixel tablet is designed to work with all of the Nest stuff and some other smart home accessories. At some point I will do that, but again, I love the idea of having those controls on a display. Oh, and before I forget, the speaker dock is pretty good in terms of sound. It's not as big sounding or as deep and as rich as something like the HomePod or the Sonos Era, but it can still fill a decent sized room. We shouldn't forget that the Pixel tablet is a tablet. The big question is, how often are you going to use it undocked like this as a tablet? I use iPads all the time for work. For me, they are tools for this business, but I don't go home really and use my iPads that much, and this is what Google is trying to solve with the Pixel tablet. Now, it's way too early to tell you whether or not this is going to get a lot of use in our house in this mode. However, as I mentioned earlier, firstly, as a tablet, it's really good. And again, we're getting the Android 13 pure experience. It's not been ruined by a third party. There is just one challenge with this, which relates to the speaker dock. So when you have the Pixel tablet docked like that, it's super secure. It's going nowhere. Those magnets are nice and strong, but that's the problem. You see, I haven't quite mastered the one-handed removal of this yet. When Google does it, they kind of grab it from the top and I think push out the bottom, which, yeah, it comes off relatively easy like that, but when it's facing you like this, I kind of want to go like that and take it off, but in doing that, the entire thing comes with it. It might just come with practice, and I know that Google has to draw a line somewhere here. You know, we need strong magnets, but equally, it needs to be relatively easy to remove from the base. However, the fact that this ensures that the Pixel tablet is always charged is a massive bonus, and again, it does encourage you to use this more because it never needs charging. Having said that, I have found it quite useful in this docked position as a tablet, so walking over to it in the kitchen and checking my calendar, checking Notion, you know, running Google searches, looking at maps for directions. It's quite a nice thing just to have sitting there that you don't have to pick up and you can just walk over and use. I've drawn two conclusions about the Google Pixel tablet so far. The first one is that as a newbie, it is a fantastic introduction to Google Assistant, which is so far ahead of Siri. The second one, again as a newbie to this, reveals how amazing a display is on a home assistant device. It makes so much sense. The question is, who is it for? And I think it's for two types of people. I think the first one is someone who is welded into the Google ecosystem and doesn't have a tablet at all at home, or perhaps has an old, I don't know, Samsung tablet or something. For those people, this is an absolute no-brainer. The second type of buyer is someone who is disillusioned with things like the iPad, but wants a tablet for home and who has a fairly decent budget. If that's you, and again, you're not welded to your Alexa system or Siri, etc., this really is worth your money. On the subject of price, no, it's not cheap, but you do have to remember what you're getting for your money. On the one hand, you're getting a very good Android tablet, arguably one of the best on the market when you consider the Google Tensor G2 chip and the completely untouched version of Android 13. And you're getting a fantastic home assistant with a great big 11-inch display thanks to this little connector here and that speaker dock. That combination at the moment I don't think can be beaten. But I'd love to know what you think about the Pixel tablet, so let me know in the comments, and very soon I'll be doing a comparison between this and the iPad, so to avoid missing that, make sure you subscribe. And if you've still got some time, keep watching for a link to another video where I review another very important Pixel product.